Hello and welcome to another episode of Dan and Robbie Explains. What are you doing?
Nothing.
I can see my face on the phone. What are you doing?
I just wanted to get a picture because you're a famous YouTuber. So is that all right? Just a quick one.
Yeah, go on then.
That's great. Thanks.
So today Dan and I have come to a generic British town to explain the Great British High Street. Dan, for people who don't know, which is everyone, what is a high street?
Well, a high street is, let's put it this way. When you need stuff
Yeah, I have stuff
for your house, yeah, you order it from Amazon, don't you? That's what we all do. Everybody in the world does that. Mm-hmm. But the high street is like Amazon. It's exactly like Amazon, except much more inconvenient. It's like being in an Amazon warehouse, except you're outside and people are happier. Well, we've been walking down the high street for a little bit now, Robbie, and I'm really confused. Some of the words that I'm seeing around are words I recognise, like next, I know that word, but there's other words that I don't know, like Dykeman. Can you explain what
Yeah, so
that is?
these buildings are called shops, and what they are, each shop is a sort of entity that will sell different things. So some shops specialise in selling clothes, some shops might sell sweets or something. I don't really know what Dykeman sells, because I've never been in it. But for other shops, like over there I can see Moss Bros, that sold suits in 1990 and for some reason still exists. So Dan, there's one shop behind us here called W.H. Smith. What does that one sell?
That's one of the biggest shops, Robbie. It sells books, a lot of books, more expensive books than you can get on the internet, firstly, and also stationery. Stationery are things like pens and filofaxes. These are things that people used to communicate back in the 1990s.
It sounds to me, as a newcomer to this, quite surprising that W.H. Smith's exists still.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. No one understands why it's still here.
So Dan, a lot of our viewers will never have been to a high street before. If someone wanted to try out a high street for the first time, what's a typical day at the high street that you might want to do?
Well, it's pretty straightforward, really. The first thing you want to do is get something very expensive from your house, like perhaps your wife's wedding ring, something like engagement ring. Go to a place called a pawnbroker. You go in there, pawn that. He'll give you some money for it. It's free money. And then the next thing to do, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's just what everyone does. Go to an optician and get your eyes tested.
Are you just talking about the two shops that are behind us? Is that? Are you just naming the things you can see?
No.
Well, you definitely are.
But then you can get a sandwich. And
You even pointed at that one.
Yeah. So we've just been walking up the high street, and I mean, I've never seen anything like this before. Robbie, what is this?
So this is a phone booth. It's something from the olden days. It's what teenagers used to have to use if they wanted to go on a date when they were younger. What they'd have to do is put 10 pence in the phone box and phone the landline of someone's house, and you then speak to the parent of the girl that you wish to woo. Have an awkward conversation, then talk to them and ask them out, and then sometimes be told no, and then be mentally scarred by it.
And is that how teenagers still kind of romance each other?
No, I don't believe it is, Dan. From my understanding, what happens these days is people go onto an app called Tinder and then send each other pictures of their genitals.
Nice.
Which is a much better system.
So I'm just trying to get this absolutely straight. You can walk down the high street and you can go into any of these doorways that you like the look of at any time. Just walk in unannounced, you haven't got a book or anything.
Nope.
And if you see something you like inside, you just pick it up and take it home.
Well, no, Dan, that's a common mistake. You actually have to pay for things using money. Yeah, you don't know what money is. So that's probably another video in itself. But money is basically what you do is you either create goods or provide services, and people give you money, and then you use that money to buy goods or services from other people.
see.
Yes, but
Circle
you
of
definitely can't.
life.
Yeah, but you definitely can't just take stuff. If you did that, the police would come and arrest you, and you go to prison. And a pretty boy like you, Dan, will be exchanged for cigarettes in no time.
Oh.
So Dan, there's so many shops on the Great British High Street. I don't understand how you know which shop sells which thing. How do you work that out?
The best thing to do, Robbie, is to look at the pictures around the shop, maybe sometimes the wording as well. Behind us here we've got Slater's. It sells formal menswear for everybody, from a 19-year-old boy with half a face to a 90-year-old man who's perhaps picking out a suit for his own funeral. So hopefully you understood that, Robbie. So just to check, I'd like to give you a little test.
Oh, I hope I do well.
We're now standing in front of a completely different shop, and I want you, just by looking at it, to tell me what you think it says.
Brown clothes and enormous Christmas decorations.
Absolutely spot on. Brilliant. I've just seen this place behind us, Robbie. What is Carphone Warehouse?
My Dan, Carphone Warehouse is a business that named itself without a full understanding of future technological trends.
So we've come to the end of our tour. Robbie, this was your first ever trip to a Great British High Street. What are your feelings?
I think it's absolutely great. It's really worth going to for a day out. They've got everything here. They've got shops, they've got restaurants, in many cases an increasingly large number of bookmakers. So that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Dan has in fact started up his own YouTube channel, so you can go and subscribe to that if you want. Dan, how many subscribers have you got now?
42.
42,000, that's not bad for a beginner.
No, it's 42.
Oh. Well, you can get on the ground floor here, be one of the first 100 if you act fast, but you've really got to move quick. Thanks for watching. Dan, to give people sort of an incentive to go and visit your channel, why don't you sort of describe it using contemporary dance?